Good evening, I'm Brady Alderson, and the Sports Ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Earlier today, it was announced that the Husker volleyball team will be making the trip to legendary Wrigley Field for a regular season matchup against Missouri. The matchup will be on the final day of the Big Ten SEC Challenge, which begins on Tuesday, September 1st, and wraps up on Sunday, September 6th. During the week, all 18 Big Ten schools and all 16 SEC programs will square off. Wrigley Field has hosted a number of professional and college hockey and football games, but this will be the first ever volleyball game played at Wrigley. The Husker women's tennis team picked up their 5th straight win this weekend after taking down Indiana 4-2. The 48th ranked Nebraska tennis team will put their 5-game win streak on the line this weekend as they come back home for a pair of matches against Ohio State and Penn State. The Huskers will take on the Buckeyes on Friday at 5 and then turn around and take on Penn State Easter Sunday at 10 a.m. The Sports Ticker was brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, the retirement compass. Visit stonebridgeiwm.com. Coming up next is Hour 1 of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
From the 8-yard line, snap to Colandrea, play fake, lobs one back shoulder left. Oh, was that caught? It was Quinn Clark, one-handed back shoulder catch for a touchdown. Highlight reel grab here in spring. Plus 32, second and 10. 13 seconds. Kalen takes the snap, hands it off to Booth, angles left. There he goes. Booth to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Connor Booth with a spring game dagger.
2-2 coming. This one is hit into left center field. Going back towards the wall, off the base of the wall. Dylan Carey will round in the second. And folks, there it is. The all-time doubles record. Number 57, Dylan Carey stands alone in the record books. Take a bow, number 15.
Runner at first, 2 outs, 1 and 2 to Alejandre from Deals. Alejandre swings and misses. She's got on strikes. And the 9th-ranked Cornhuskers down 7th-ranked UCLA, beating the Bruins 2-1 in the series.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. What a crazy busy weekend. A lot to get to. Just an hour for us tonight because we have, again, the Nebraska Baseball Hour coming up with Ben McLaughlin and head coach Will Bolt here at the 7 o'clock hour. But congratulations, Kyle. You made it back into the montage.
Yeah, who would have thought? It's a dream come true. I'd like to thank all my fans. I like to thank this guy named Josh Hilkeman, who's a producer who's been secretly keeping me out of the montages for so long. But this spring football thing happened, which was a lot of fun. I was talking to Keith Mann today, who's the director of football communications. I probably didn't get his title right, but we were just saying
he's an assistant AD.
I think he's a senior. I think he's actually a senior AD.
Yeah.
So you actually sold him short. But we were saying that because
senior associate.
See, that's
AD.
super official.
Yep. There we go.
Super official. But how I enjoyed the spring game because it was team on team. It was a lot of team on team. It wasn't a lot of nonsense. It wasn't the Husker games either. It was far from that. There was just a lot of football. It was just there were no breaks in the quarters. You're just going from 2s on 2s, 1s on 1s. It was just rotating. It just moved quick. Yeah, I thought it was good. It was a fun watch for me.
It was. You were a little stressed out going into it, but hey, we settled in.
You got to be. It's better to be over prepared than not prepared at all, I think is the way to put it. It was my first spring game as an announcer. It's chaos. It's, but the thing is, it wasn't as much chaos as I expected. So that was good. I don't think Coach Rule knew exactly what he wanted to do with the game up until maybe the day before. And it was good to see for fans who don't get access to practice to see Anthony Colandrea out there, see that offensive line for the first time, see a guy like Quasi Gilmer, Rob Orich with the headset on, some of the new guys. So for fans, it was, it's a good experience to be able to watch your guys that you're going to see in the fall.
All right, so we will circle back to football here in the next segment, but did want to go back to basketball because we haven't had a chance to talk about it because we didn't have a show on Friday. And obviously heartbreaking when a season like that comes to an end, and just went cold in the second half. But what an incredible season. I thought the post-game meeting in the locker room that came out with Coach Hoiberg was just so moving, and just hearing him address the seniors. But just, I understand the sentiments towards Iowa, and that it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth that the season ends to Iowa, but you have to appreciate what was done with this team. I got a list of just all the accolades and the firsts and everything that this team did, and it's absolutely incredible. And, you know, as Coach Hoiberg has said time and time again, what was done this season, now once you get there, the season is to expect to keep getting back. And I don't think there's any expectations other than to continue to match that and move forward even beyond past that. And he said that. He said, hey, next time around, we will win those games moving forward. And so a lot to be really, really happy about, but man, just pretty... I know it was a really, really upset locker room, and they were pretty disappointed that it came to an end, but you have to be really, really proud of the season that this team put together.
It's the best season in school history. Just call it what it is. It's the best that we've ever seen Nebraska basketball in a season. And you think of the stars that have come about. I mean, Price Sanford, people aren't going to be talking about Price in the preseason the way they did coming into this year as they are coming into next year, right? And the expectations for him and the target on his back is going to be much bigger because he played at an incredible level, where you have people that are watching the game saying, you know, this is a guy who could be serviceable at the next level. Like, you're talking an NBA type talent with how quick his release is. And from there, from an individual standpoint, a star was born with Sanford and what he was able to do. And you think of the guys that won't be with the program next year because they're moving on and graduating and going on into the next step in their lives, but what they've meant to this program, what Rink Mast. I remember sitting here some of my early weeks doing the show, and the announcement, not understanding, because I didn't know a whole lot about the magnitude of what it meant to get Rink Mast back from injury, and to see the impact that he made on this team in a lot of different ways, and especially in the NCAA tournament, and then to see an entire fan base show what it means to have a good men's basketball program and what the fan interest can be for that. And I tweeted this out at the time after they lost to Iowa. It's only going to get better from here because the interest, the investment, the floor's been risen in terms of high school recruiting, in terms of transfer portal interest. There's just so much that was better a year ago from today, even when you had the success in the Crown, but the investment and everything is just so much bigger around the program. So it means a lot of great times are ahead.
So we'll see. Again, I think the announcements for players will start coming out. It was a lot of the clips coming out of the locker room, and the locker rooms are open no matter what for both teams in the NCAA tournaments. I couldn't go in there. I was about to cry myself, so I was having a hard time working through and processing my own emotions. But saw some of the clips, and it's the day and age that we're in. Players were asked about what they're going to do moving forward, and I know probably at this point not everything is completely settled. And I know Price was asked about his intentions, and I wouldn't be surprised. I know he hasn't officially announced, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes through the NBA.
Yeah, you could do that,
and comes back just to see, and not so much to go into the NBA this year, but to see what he needs to work on for the next time around, so that, hey, he can really kind of focus on that on his game to be able to kind of elevate and be even a higher round pick. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if he goes that route and then ends up coming back. And then hopefully Braden Frager ends up coming back as well. I expect a lot of those decisions will roll in throughout the week. And then also the portal actually officially opens up for the women's basketball coming up on April 6th. And it goes through the 20th, and then the men's open up officially on the 7th and goes through the 21st. So they got a lot of pieces that are returning, but you do have to fill some pretty big pieces. And when you lose Rink, you lose Sam. So they are going to get some pieces in the portal. They got a couple pretty great recruits coming in as freshmen, but you want to stay old. And so I think they'll be able to, really go after some big names in the portal. Got to get a point guard, maybe two guards that can handle the ball, maybe a big. But, we heard Troy Dannon saying in the halftime with Kent and Jeff about the revenue and what Nebraska men's basketball will have to work with, and it sounds like they're going to get to double what they were able to work with last year, which will certainly help.
Yeah, that's going to help, and plus the NIL piece is what it is, and for Luka, the GM of Nebraska basketball, and what you're looking at, I mean, you look at tape of all these guys throughout the years before the portal is going to open, and what's interesting this year too is now you have a difference in when the portal period is going to start for both the men and the women. You mentioned the dates, but it's going to be after the national championship game. Essentially, is when you can officially go public that you're going to enter the portal, as opposed to in the NCAA tournament when a lot of these guys,
which people have already, kind of like what we saw in football, have already.
Yeah.
A lot of them have announced their intentions, but it's just not official until next.
And they
week.
know who's going already.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a kept secret or anything like that. So there's just a lot more of investment. There's a lot more excitement. And back to your point about price, he'd probably be foolish not to go through that process to get a markup, get an expectation of what NBA teams see and what you can get better. And it's just a free evaluation tool, essentially, if you're Bryce Sanford, to go through that process.
I like that move. There's a lot of things that we can gripe about the NCAA, but I do like that they did that, where guys can do that, kind of get an evaluation, and then still come back.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans will see that and overreact when they see the headline, not necessarily knowing how it works. You know, the place I was coming from, you'd have 2 or 3 guys that would do that every year and go through the NBA process and then come back and just learn what they have to be a better defender. They have to be better driving the lane. They have to, there's a lot of different, you have to get quicker, faster, laterally more quick, all these things that you can learn through that process. So I think Sanford most definitely will go through that. And the biggest thing now is if you get him, that he doesn't go to the NBA, right? Retention's key. Frager, Bearcake, can you get him to come back and then supplement? You have to find a way, like you said, to stay old in the Big Ten. You look at all these teams in the Final Four. These are teams that have a lot of age, 22, 23-year-olds. The more that you can bring in guys that are fifth years or seniors that are well-traveled, that have played a couple years somewhere else, that have figured out their game a little bit, that are more mature, that's the key to winning in March.
We know for sure Connor Sejan's coming back. That's already been announced, and hopefully he comes back healthy. So that's one of those pieces. He came off the bench and was a big spark, and honestly probably what led to Braden Frager being able to have the season he had. I think Braden was going to have the kind of season he had, but probably a little bit of the role would have been split a little bit more between those two. So Braden really having to take on a bigger role after Connor went down. But look, he's a shooter, and this system needs shooters, and so he's fit in well with even going back to last year, what Coach Hoiberg likes to do. So getting him back. We'll see, about Oogie as well. We'd heard nothing but fantastic things, but he just could not get healthy throughout the year. But that would be an important piece.
Think of the difference he would have made, Jess.
Oh, I mean, it just, Jeff Smith and I were talking about, just what Iowa got hot at the right time, right? But they had probably one more elite scorer off the bench that really helped them. And I think if you had Oogie, someone like that in the rotation coming off the bench, how monumental that would be for Nebraska and what could have been with this team.
Now you just look at Iowa and what they were, and when they beat Florida and when they beat Nebraska, they had so many players step up big, right? Sturtz had 20 in the game against Nebraska. He was 3 of 9 from 3, but you had Koch, Fulgaris, Sage, all those guys just hit big shot after big shot. Fulgaris had that big shot against Florida, and then just they're relentless. They just never gave up, and they defended at an incredibly high level, and they have a superstar who's just relentless, and his defense plays 40 minutes a game. You just feel bad for a guy like Sam Hoiberg, right, who, again, feel bad's one way to put it.
Made it to the Sweet 16. You're
he's done a
hanging
pretty
a
darn
banner.
good job, and he's a part of the best team in program history when nobody thought that he could play the role he did on a team that nobody thought maybe could get this far.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We'll continue talking hoops because I think the news will, again, over the next few weeks, whether guys announcing they're coming back or when the transfer portal opens and you start getting guys officially signed, both men's and women's. I think the women are also going to try to get some pieces from the transfer portal as well, even though they have that fantastic trio coming in. Ashlyn Copel continues to just rack up. I feel like it's every week she gets some kind of award or some kind of accolade. She's fantastic. She's going to fit right in. So some of that news too with the women's team, I think over the next few weeks we'll continue to see how these rosters shape up. So we'll keep talking basketball, obviously, but do want to get to a break here so that we can talk some football, dive into that and what we took away from the red-white game, and dive into that. And then also a huge weekend for both Nebraska baseball and softball. So do want to have some time to get into that as well. So we'll get to that right after this. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. See a couple texts rolling in as well, so we will try to get to those. 402-413-2400. We're back with more coming up right after this.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. DirecTV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. So, again, spring game in the books now, and we did get a text message asking about what the official number was for attendance, and what did we say? It's just over 27,000 was the number that they announced. And then asked about, now will players enter the portal? No, that was what changed and what has allowed for players to or for
play
teams for the programs to now play spring games, because there isn't that portal. I actually did a podcast with Jeremiah Searles today, and he talked about that. Like, had teams seen Jamal Rule in the spring game, you don't think everybody would have been coming after him if there's a portal window open here, but there's not. So they're locked in for this season.
Yeah, that's one of the good things that comes from getting rid of one of the portal periods is now you have the games back, and you don't have to do lifting contests and things like that we have to make up on radio. It was an actual game, but Jamal Rule, I mean, that was a fun story, but I can tell you, we can all tell you here that have been at practice, doesn't surprise me one bit.
No.
What Jamal Rule, I mean, you talked to him when he officially signed on signing day. I went back in my prep for the game, watched that interview, and I said, well, he was a lot thinner when you did that interview. The way he bulked up when he came here on campus, he's got a lot bigger, stronger, he's fast. Like, even Coach Rule, when I did the pregame in his office, he even went out of his way to say, like, Jamal Rule's going to play here. He's going to play this year.
Yeah.
And he's it's hard to do as a true freshman to play running back, but he is going to factor in.
Look, they've been excited about him when they signed, thought they found something. And, it's funny. And again, appreciate Doug from Grand Island sending in that question. But a lot of people kind of knocked this signing class because, again, it might not have been as big. But they knew what they were doing, and they were really, really excited about the players that they got. And I think they've got, 5 that are probably going to play this year.
Yeah,
Luke
Sorensen be another one of those guys at tight end.
Yeah.
I think that could factor
Odom,
in. Danny Odom definitely at that other corner position, who I think got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think it was more of just being comfortable in spring practices, and he has that competitive mindset. Larry Miles, you saw a lot of him in the spring game. Nayland Scott didn't play. We didn't see Isaiah Hunter as well. There's a few guys we didn't get a chance to see in the spring game that were a little bit nicked up. But all in all, too, I think the most important part, we saw Cortez Mills get a little bit nicked up towards the end, but everyone, for the most part, came out healthy. The one injury out of spring that Coach Rule had talked about that is going to be a little lengthy is Jacob Bauer. He had surgery from an injury he had in spring practice. So that's one that will talk about, okay, what's his deal heading into the fall. But for the most part, you came out of spring healthy, and now you have more of a runway because of the earlier spring for guys to have a little extra time to sort of take a deep breath and get healthy and go through conditioning.
Jacob Bauer obviously providing some depth in that linebacker room, but also I think that hurts on special teams because he played a huge role in special teams last year.
Yeah, that's a massive one. Another one of the guys that played a big role on special teams last year, I thought looked really good in the game, was Derek Wacker.
Oh, that was the guy that popped to Searles too. That's what he said.
He was all over the place. Made a couple. One of the plays that I can think of that's top of mind was he tackled Quentin Ives in the open field on a screen pass. It's hard to do in open space when you're one-on-one as a linebacker to bring back, especially a guy like Quentin Ives that's kind of thick and he's hard to bring down. And then he made, I think, a play on the next play. So he was all over the field. A lot of vanilla looks defensively. Damon pointed it out from his 30,000-foot view. There's a lot of single high safeties. It just wasn't defenses you're going to see. Rob Orge plays split safeties, 2 safeties. You kind of split the field in half. It was a lot of single high safety stuff, and you're not seeing a lot of exotic things in terms of looks, which makes sense. You don't want people to be able to get their notepad out and take notes. So there wasn't a whole lot defensively. It was pretty vanilla.
And you know what's funny about that too is that again, because Nebraska's spring game, I think it was the first one. It was the first one that was played. Keith was telling me that earlier in spring that we would have the first game being played of any Power 4 program, and it will replay a lot to fill time on the Big Ten Network until the next one gets played. So that's what, you don't want to put all that out there for teams to see a lot of.
A lot of schools are just starting spring.
Yeah.
Like their spring games aren't until mid-April. So our spring being already complete. There's people that are just had the report day a couple days ago to start their spring practice. So that's super unique. But again, the runway it gives you, now they'll have off-season workouts, OTAs as they're known kind of in the NFL world. And then before you know it, in late July, you'll have them report for fall camp, and then off we go.
I do think some of the, off-season workouts that they typically do have done in January, February, they are going to now do on the back end.
Yeah, like the mat drills and things like that.
So I think that will change a little bit. So maybe guys that need to put on a little bit more weight will do that here, and then it's getting on the field a little bit more. But it's a really important time. Coach Rule has always talked about this time about kind of becoming that player-led team, and as you establish the culture, this is that kind of the time that. And while coaches can spend a little bit more time with them than they have in the past, that it's just kind of that time that they really are able to do that. And into the summer, this is kind of that time that they do that. All right, I had a chance to chat with the quarterback, Anthony Colandrea, after his first appearance inside Memorial Stadium in front of Husker Nation. Well, how was your first experience here inside Memorial Stadium?
It's awesome. It's so electric. These fans are awesome. It's great.
Okay, how about just overall spring, from where the offense was at the beginning to where you guys are today?
Yeah, no, I feel like we did a great job as an offense, picking up everything, especially for the new guys coming in, just picking up everything at a high level. And shoot, we had a great spring, and it was awesome coming out here and playing today.
A lot of guys just talking about how comfortable they are with you. How comfortable are you with the group and how you fit in with everybody else?
Yeah, it's honestly crazy. Like, when I came in, we got so comfortable just playing ball, right? Just in the first 3 practices, we were connecting at a high level. And it's so crazy that I've been here for, 3 months, and we were just connecting at a high level. It was awesome.
How about Coach Holgerson and just the offensive staff? How excited are you for what's been laid here in the spring and what you guys can build on into the fall?
For sure. Coach Hogue does a great job, right? With everyone, with the offensive line, receivers, running backs. He holds everyone to a high standard, and shoot, that holds me to a high standard too, so I love that.
How about the offensive line, the guys up front? How dangerous can they be for you guys?
Yeah, they're awesome. I feel like as an offense, they're the best part of our team, right? Everyone's really good. Receivers really good. Running backs really good. But shoot, those guys are elite up front.
How important is the time now moving forward just in these next couple of months for a team before you guys even get on the field for fall camp?
Yeah, no, it's big, honestly. We're still doing football the next couple months. Even though we're not in spring ball, we're going to still be running plays and going through everything. But it's super important to get the details down.
All right, and then the handshakes, right? Yeah. Tell us about that and how you go about developing the ones for each guy.
I honestly, it's crazy. Like I'll just, when I met him, I'll be like, hey, let's make a handshake. It's crazy. They're like, what? I just met you. Why are we making a handshake? But it's crazy, though. I think handshakes are connections for guys and relationships that you need.
So you're enjoying being a Husker?
I love it. I love it here. It's awesome. This place is awesome.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Again, Anthony Colandrea, he was already signing a bunch of autographs. Not surprising. That's what happens when you play quarterback here at Nebraska. But what did you take away from the quarterback play?
Well, one, he's an alpha. He's kind of what you need at that position, right? He's somebody he barks at the defense, kind of gives it back. They kind of give it back to each other. There's a unique relationship that he has with his teammates. They all seem to love him, gravitate to him. That's what you have to be at that position. One pass I can think of, the threading the needle to Ja'Cory Barney, who made an over-the-shoulder catch along the sideline.
That was right in front of me.
That was a
impressive.
Great throw.
It was a great catch, too, by Ja'Cory.
Great throw, great catch. You're going to have those types of plays when you want to win in the Big Ten. And his escapability, there's no secret to what makes Anthony Colandrea, if all goes well, one of those quarterbacks that gives you such a high ceiling. It's because he's so explosive. He's such an athlete. He can extend plays and to kill shorts. When I talked to him with our pregame conversation for the broadcast, he mentioned for wide receivers last year, a lot of the times when you weren't open on the first look, it was either a sack or a throwaway, right? Now it's, okay, if you're not open on the first look, Anthony's going to look to not just scramble to run, but scramble to work into an explosive play, still throw the ball downfield. So if you're all those guys in that wide receiving room, a play is not dead until the whistle is blown. And that's something that necessarily wasn't here last year, just based on skill sets and things like that. That's what makes Colandrea unique. He can spin it, he can run it, he can do a lot of different things. And as long as you keep that turnover number down, you'll be in a good spot.
It's crazy. 2 quarterbacks that I worked with at OU that were really, that happened a lot with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. And it was almost like it became like a second, like you learned all your routes, but then you have, those wide receivers knew, hey, I'm paying attention, I'm going to keep running. And a lot of times, a lot of their big catches came from that very thing, is when you've got a quarterback like that can keep plays alive, you know that, hey, you always got a chance to make a big play.
Yeah, there's always a thought that you might have to freelance a little bit. The quarterback's going to freelance a little bit. The wide receivers have to freelance. Running back, same thing. So there's a lot to it. And then offensive line that's going to be in front of them, too. They have to be willing to make certain adjustments to the way Anthony plays. And it's a big group, but it's an athletic group, which I think helps when you have Colandrea behind center. I think I saw a lot of good out of Anthony. Again, what it's going to come down to is what does that turnover number look like? I think he had 11 picks the last 2 years, one at Virginia and then one at UNLV, but the touchdowns were way up. The rushing numbers were way up. So it seems like a guy that is more willing to take off. Starting last year, I think he rushed for about 650 yards last year, 10 touchdowns, which was a big jump from his final year at Virginia.
Okay, so as I guess, and we'll keep talking football, obviously, up until the kickoff in the season, but when you and you probably saw more in practice than you did on Saturday, but what were your big takeaways, I guess, from the spring game, just by not going back to practice and what you saw there, but just the spring game?
I think offensively, it's a really talented team. That's one way I look at it. I think Danny Kalen's, again, he's still pretty early in his progression. I think he's somebody who can factor in. There's going to be a conversation about who that who QB1 is going to be, at least going into fall camp. Knock on wood, everybody stays healthy. But who's that number 2 quarterback? And we saw that come into play last year, right? Somebody might be QB1 going into the season, but you're going to need 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks, and you have 3 that have played Power 4 games. I think at the running back room, people see what the coaches see in terms of the talent. Jamal Rule being one thing, but Mekhi Nelson, Isaiah Mosey, what kind of step does he take this year? It's a season for Mosey where, remember last year, he started as a wide receiver, kind of yanking him back between 2 different rooms. This year, he's a full-time running back. How does that maybe change things? Quentin Ives. I really like Connor Booth. I'm a huge Connor Booth guy. I don't necessarily know how he factors in.
He's like a football guy. He's just like a football player.
Well, you look at his numbers in high school, absurd. Yeah. Really absurd here in the state of Nebraska. So I like the position groups on the offensive side, I think. And defense, they're going to be improved from last year. I just don't know how much you take away from a spring game when you're playing vanilla looks.
Shane on the chat said, Kyle, Jessica, when did you finally get the roster? I got it on Saturday morning because I didn't think I was going to be here. You sent it to me Friday night.
Yeah, I've had a good idea for a little bit who's where. So a lot of it's like offensive line depth and things like that. So Shane, there was no teams. It was just offense against defense. So that helps too. My fear was it was going to be team red and team white after a draft had taken place. But luckily for us, there was no draft. So he just knew who was going to be on one. It was just offense against defense.
Yeah. All right, going to get to a break. More to get to coming up after this huge weekend for Husker softball. Going to dive into that next. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Right now is the perfect time to upgrade your ride with Woodhouse Nissan, your destination for selection, value, and amazing savings. Receive 0% APR for 60 months on select 2025 and 2026 Nissan Rogues, Muranos, and Pathfinders when you finance with NMAC, or save up to $1,200 off MSRP with available Woodhouse trade-in and finance discount on all new Nissan models. Visit us in Bellevue or Omaha, or browse our offers online today. With approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Expires March 31st, 2026. See dealer for details.
The Akrs Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody, and your number one fan has checked in. Art in Los Angeles.
Let's go.
Not your mom, your second favorite fan.
Yeah.
Your second number one
1
fan.
and 1A.
I was having a very bad day until I heard Kyle in the montage. Hearing Kyle call football is like ear candy. GVR.
Tell that to Josh Hilkeman.
Yeah. And then he said on the chat, he chimed in and said, Kyle Crooks is the GOAT. He is my favorite football announcer in the universe.
Wow. All right. Do you listen to any other football that you have anything else to gauge it from? Because that's a pretty big statement.
All righty. Well, how about a series for Nebraska softball?
How about it?
Huge. I mean, we talked about the implications for the series going into the weekend. Nebraska number 2 still in the RPI now after last weekend. And, you know, we were talking to Troy about it on Saturday morning before the spring game and just the implications that it could mean if Nebraska takes care of business the rest of the way out. Not only does that mean that Nebraska is probably hosting a regional, that probably solidified a super regional, a case for hosting a super regional as well. As again, there's a long way to go. You still got to take care of business. But again, with the expectations that Nebraska will do that with this kind of roster, that very well could have solidified their argument or their place in hosting a super regional.
Yeah, I think from a metric standpoint, you have now stated your claim.
Yeah.
Or staked your claim with what you did in the non-conference and with the biggest series that you're going to have in the Big Ten. You have Creighton coming up. Rutgers is not very good in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Penn State. There's not a whole lot there that's going to boost your RPI. It can only hurt it if you lose games. And the hope is you have a roster that can sweep all of these series. You want to find a way to essentially the thought process is win every single game left on your schedule.
Which this team can.
Possible.
Yeah.
Leave no doubt. I think what was interesting over the weekend, one, the offense is it's real.
Yeah.
Alexis Jensen, when you watch her play, the home run she hit, I think 273 feet or whatever it was off the bat, and the confidence they have in her as a pitcher. She started on Friday night.
Yeah,
correct?
they went to her. They started her in the first game of the series.
And then the remedy of starting her, I would assume this is their game one of a super regional, probably going to start Jensen, and then they're going to have Jordy close. Jordy's broke, was it Rhonda's record, right, for saves in a single season? Yep. So she has 8 saves. So that's on a best case scenario, it's the freshman that starts, not Jordy. Jordy does what she does. She had a 2 home run game, 3 for the weekend. Yeah. And then she comes in and gets the final 6 outs. That's the way that you want. And then offensively, you're never out of a game. Hannah Coor, Ava Kuzak. I mean, everybody was hitting the ball all over the yard. And UCLA is a darn good team. Don't have a whole lot of depth in their pitching staff like they've had in years past. What you need in softball, it's not like baseball. If you have two really, really good pitchers, you can make a long run. If you have a third, consider that a luxury, which I think Hannah Camazin can come in and do that. But if you have two really good pitchers that you can rely on to start and finish a game, you're in a really good spot.
Look, in that UCLA lineup, their pitching might not be as strong, but they can rake. And that was, I think they said that was the first time all season that they were held scoreless through the first 2 innings.
Yeah.
So the fact that Alexis, usually when they start going through the lineup second 2 and 3 times is when they. But, boy, she pitched really, really well on Friday, and then Jordy was able to shut the door, and then she pitched really well yesterday. And so, it just is so fun. And we'll hear from Hannah Coor here in a second, but with Hannah and then with Jordy, and those are 2 players that have been a part of a team that had to win in super regionals, and she said it felt like a super regional. And just the way that they came in with so much confidence on Sunday, kind of approaching it in that way, I think will pay dividends again moving forward when your back might be against the wall. And just the mindset that those 2 in particular bring, and being they've done it on the highest stage, I think is really, really important.
I'm shocked they didn't sweep them. They had bases loaded, game 2 in the 7th. I mean, UCLA was incredibly lucky to get out of here with at least 1 win. And then you see the drone shots and the overall look of the ballpark.
Oh, that was incredible, too.
You had the single game record on Saturday. I thought Sunday would be up there, too. The crowds, the energy, that's part of what lended itself to a super regional atmosphere.
Nate said they missed some clicks. Nate said it looked comparable.
I thought Sunday was just as big.
That's
and it was a better day.
He said that somebody messed up on a clicker.
Well, maybe Nate has more information that we're not privy to, but
no, he was kidding. But he said, because we were all shocked, Camden, we were all in the booth at the same time, and we were shocked when we got the number because we thought it was equivalent to what Saturday was.
I thought so, and so they set the record for 3-game series too, over 3,000, I think. Everything when we had Rhonda in here before the season started, before they went down to San Antonio to start the season. We mentioned there's a lot of pressure on this team because they know what is here and what's not going to be here next year, and they have lived up to it and then some. This is a team that we said we were pretty big in our predictions. It's a World Series team, a super regional hosting team. They've done everything possible to put themselves in a situation where all roads are going to come through Bowlin Stadium.
Yeah, that gives me chills. All right, I had a chance to chat with Hannah Coor following the series win over UCLA. All right, Hannah Coor, how big was this series win for you guys?
This is awesome.
All right, Hannah Coor, how big was this series win for you guys?
This is awesome. Just gives us some more juice, get us going. Big win like that kind of just sets us up. That's a super regional feel, and feeling that now instead of later, it's really good for us.
I know you guys wanted the win yesterday. How proud are you of the way that this team bounced back and responded today?
Super proud of them. I said it yesterday. I was super excited to see how we come out. And punch first. Don't get punched first and then try and respond, but, punch them first, and we did a very good job at that.
Yeah, it seemed like you guys came out really aggressive from the start offensively. Was that kind of the plan, to come out and be really aggressive at the approach of the plate?
Yeah, 100%. They're a great team. They have a great pitching staff, but I have full belief in our hitters, and whoever's in the box, they can get it done no matter what.
Huge series for you. What's starting to click and really work for you, especially at the plate?
Just having a lot of fun with it. I work with Coach Miller a lot. And just getting my swing off as much as I can, staying consistent in that. And I think it's been working pretty well right now.
How about in the outfield, too? You guys are making so many great plays out there. What's kind of working for you guys, and how much pride do you take in backing up this pitching staff?
We just have a lot of fun out there. My favorite thing about softball is playing defense. And we have a phenomenal outfield from whoever's out there. I have full belief in them. We just have fun. It's a joy to be out there with those girls, and anything that's hit out there, we're going to catch it.
You seem almost as fired up when either side makes a play as when you make a play.
Yeah, you just got to. It's fun. Playing with a joyful heart. It's not circumstantial. It's joy from the heart, and we're playing with a lot of heart.
Alexis Jensen, what can you say about her and the job she did for you guys in the circle this weekend, and what makes her wired to be able to handle it?
I have never met anyone like Alexis Jensen. She is one of a kind. She's a true competitor, and she's just as fired up as I am out there, and probably the most fired up person on this team. And she just plays with a lot of heart and passion, and she just wants to do her very best every single pitch.
You've said a lot about the joy that you've found here playing at Nebraska. What is it about this group of girls that you just really love playing the game again?
The freedom. You get to be exactly who you are, and they love you for it. And just playing with these girls, like, how can you not have fun? You know, it's just playing bat ball. You know, these girls they're awesome.
How much confidence can you guys take away from this series? Again, you've won a lot of big games this year, but moving forward into the Big Ten, you're kind of in the driver's seat. What can you take away from this series moving into the rest of Big Ten play?
Just putting it in our pocket, keep our head down, keep working. This was awesome, but we gotta move on to the next weekend.
Great stuff. Great win.
Thank you.
Again, that is Hannah Coor, and we heard Coach Ravel talk about just what she's brought to the team. I love what she said about she's fallen in love, back in love with the sport again. And I keep saying that outfield is playing with some swagger, and that is led by Hannah Coor. They don't let many things drop out there in the outfield.
Yeah, it's a team that has a lot of swagger just in general. It's part of what comes with when you win, and you have a generational player in Jordy Fromm. That helps too. You think of the swagger of a freshman, Alexis Jensen. Like that's a player that plays with a lot of swagger, and there's just a lot of confidence with this team, and you could see it. I mean, they beat up UCLA in moments this weekend.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Let's go ahead and get to a break. We are back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with 0 down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
From the chant of Husker power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
Husker fans, make your plans now to attend one of the most exciting events in Nebraska sports this year when the Big Red play host to the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships at Pinnacle Bank Arena April 3rd and 4th. That's this weekend at 7 p.m. Get your all-session tickets now through Ticketmaster for just $15. And you're going to talk some men's gym this week.
Coach Shamelka will be in studio on Wednesday, so we'll have him on the show.
Big weekend coming up. And did want to mention, I forgot. I lost my train of thought, but hey, my favorite game of the year for both softball and baseball, Bark at the Park coming up this weekend. And weather looks a little dicey, but I do think they'll be able to play on Saturday, hopefully. So Bark at the Park coming up. That's always
Is
a fun.
Sonny going?
Sonny's going.
Does Sonny know
It's
where
funny,
Sonny
I was
wants to watch?
FaceTiming my mom last night, and Sonny's been with my mom and dad for like 3 weeks because...
Still with mom and dad?
Yeah, they're bringing her back up this weekend. And so I told her she was asleep, and I said, "Are you ready for Bark in the Park?" And she sat up. So she
knows.
She knows.
Is she going to want to be at softball or baseball?
Well, I guess we'll go to softball, and then when softball ends, we'll go to baseball.
Okay, it's a long day for Sonny, though.
Sonny can handle it. She'll be ready to party.
All right.
So that's fun. So again, Bark at the Park, they have some giveaways, and it's always a fun day. And I know a lot of people like to bring their pups to the park, so that's coming up.
Do we have like a cat day? Bring your cat to the... I know they're a little more erratic and hard to control.
To the dog day.
I wish I had a cat. Maybe like an adopt a cat day or something.
Yeah. So did want to mention that. Again, we'll probably talk about it because I will not let people forget that it's Bark at the Park Day, but it's coming up on Saturday for both baseball and softball. Well, how about the huge news that came out today that Nebraska Volleyball is going to play at Wrigley Field on September 6th as a part of the Big Ten SEC Challenge. So they'll play Missouri coming up that September 6th. And then Penn State and Kentucky is the other match there at Wrigley. The both matches going to be on Fox. That is so exciting. Again, another first, which I fully believe that you could not do these things without Nebraska volleyball involved. But I'm just so happy that Nebraska's involved. And what a huge opportunity. How cool is that?
And I looked at the layout. The court's going to be like right where shallow center field would be, right behind second base. Now, the general public on sale, I know people are going to ask this question. That's April 9th.
Yep.
So the general public on sale tickets will be available on April 9th, and they will go quick. And just like, we saw the sold-out stadium here, be fascinated to see the numbers of red that we see in the stands at Wrigley Field on September 6th. That'll be the day after the football opener, right? Is this a Sunday, September 6th?
Yeah, and so, again, they're playing DePaul on September 4th, on that Friday.
Wintrust, right?
So you could go to 2 games there and that weekend and watch volleyball.
That's Nebraska. You're right. They probably couldn't do this without Nebraska. I mean, I'm just thinking of the possibilities moving forward. A place like Wrigley Field, like is Yankee Stadium in the mix? Fenway Park, some of these iconic venues.
We have a lot of people that want Madison Square Garden.
I texted you that today.
Well,
I think that would be
I've
great.
had multiple people that have brought that up. I was talking to Jalen Reyes about it back in the fall, but Lindsay was talking, their director of operations back when we were doing the dig. We were diving into this, and she's just the request now that people are trying to capitalize on volleyball and doing like these big events. And of course, their first call is Nebraska. Every kind of event wants Nebraska to be involved because they know that it will be a success if Nebraska volleyball is there.
But this is just the start of the cool things that you can imagine that volleyball is going to eventually play games at, and we know that Nebraska is going to be that first call. So I would expect in years to come, not just this year, every single year you might have a match like this.
The balance, though, is that you don't want to take away too many home matches, so you have to find that balance between doing these really awesome type opportunities and then also still making sure that you're providing those plenty of home matches for your fans, but also just getting to play at home inside Devaney.
Now, I think more opportunities too at PBA as the years go along. I know they said they want to at least play one every year at PBA, but I think those opportunities could grow too in the coming years.
We'll have some volleyball coming up this weekend, actually the next 3 weekends, and we'll have it for you on the air. Next weekend. And then the next.
And we'll have them on
2.
radio, yep.
So we will, coming up, their spring volleyball is underway now. And so Saturday, April 11th will be at the Pentagon against Iowa State. And then the April 17th is at Creighton. And then that April 25th is the match in Chadron, did you see the lines for that?
The day before, people were sleeping outside overnight for matches for a spring match. I can't. It's a different world. It's a different world, and it's a cool world. And that does not happen anywhere else but here for volleyball. That is quite literally a one-off.
I know it's been said a lot, but what a fun time to be a Husker fan.
It is. Top 10 softball, top 20 now baseball team. Men's basketball did you can go up and down the line of teams that are competing for championships.
Yeah, and track and field going to have their first home meet, hopefully, if weather allows, in a long time outdoor, because actually when I came for the first weekend, they were tearing that thing up. So it's been over 5 years since they've had an outdoor home meet. So hopefully they're able to get it in this weekend. So yeah, lots of exciting things happening. All right, that's going to do it for Kyle and me, Ben McLaughlin. Head coach Will Bolt coming up next for an entire hour of Husker baseball talk. Again, another huge weekend for the Huskers as they move up in the top 25 rankings. Keep it here on Sports Nightly and the Huskers Radio Network.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
It's time for the Nebraska Baseball Coaches Show.
Now the 3-2. Max swings and hits one hard to right field. That thing is gone. A 2-out, 2-run laser off the bat of Max Butenbach was all of a sudden caught fire for the Cornhuskers. And Nebraska has jumped in front 2-0.
Brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers.
2-2 coming. This one is hit into left center field, going back towards the wall, off the base of the wall. Dylan Carey will round in the second, and folks, there it is, the all-time doubles record. Number 57, Dylan Carey stands alone in the record books. Take a bow, number 15. The 1-0. Driven into left center field, sending Decker back. Does it have enough? It does! A grand slam! Dylan Carey, it's your day!
Now with Will Bolt, here's your host, Ben McLaughlin, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Good evening and welcome to the Nebraska Baseball Radio Hour. Ben McLaughlin joined in studio by Nebraska head baseball coach Will Bolt. Another really good week for Husker baseball. Is another perfect week. Nebraska remains undefeated at home, climbing higher in the polls, and of course gearing up for another big week starting tomorrow with Creighton up the road in I-80 in Omaha before hosting Penn State. Coach, thanks for joining us. I know it's almost like we were the same spot last week, an undefeated week, and we all knew it was going to start with a big matchup on Tuesday with K-State. The way that team's hitting the ball, I don't think you really know what to expect to go to Manhattan. Let's just start there. How was that experience, kind of going through the craziness of that game? I think we were close to 4 hours in length in that game. Guys were just back from a long spring break trip, and you talk all the time about resilience. Hard to picture a better game to talk about than that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful night in Manhattan, actually about 70 degrees at first pitch, and really good day to hit. And so it was, just a real good job outside of one inning by our pitching staff against a really good lineup. Got a little sideways there, but just the response from our guys. I mean, we give up a 6th spot. We're on defense for seems like an hour, and then we come right back in and score 5 runs to grab the lead, grab the momentum. Had a lot of big swings in there, Drew Grigo, and a couple of big ones to kind of cap that thing off. And just a big win against a really good team on the road. Like you said, I mean, I brought this up to the group before we started on Tuesday. Hey, last time we were in this ballpark, we really didn't play very well. We were coming off that spring break trip, very similar, kind of came in and we weren't real sharp in the first inning. We gave up 5 runs and we were playing catch up. And this week was the exact opposite. I mean, we were on it. We were focused. We were ready. And, like I said, outside of one inning, we pretty much dominated the game.
How have you seen the guys handle some of the external stuff? I know no one in the program is ever going to make excuses for anything, but sometimes logistics are what they are. I mean, they're on the road all week. Turn around, you probably have to be very careful about how you handle Monday, knowing you're going to be on a bus for a total of about 6 hours on Tuesday, and then it's going to be a really competitive series this weekend. How do you balance that, and how have you seen the guys kind of bounce back from some of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the guys, the older guys in our program have really set a great tone. I may have told this, I don't remember if we talked about this on air or not, but just there was a few weeks ago that I was going to have them hit batting practice inside on a Sunday morning to save their legs, and it was a 5-game week, and I got a text from Overbeek and said, hey, the boys want to hit outside. So they love being together, and they love being on the field together, and we cherish those moments that we have. So I think if you can just look at it as perspective, a lot of these guys are putting the Husker uniform on for the last time this year, and they just we're going to take care of their bodies, and we got to think about some of those things. But the best teams don't really get affected by those things a whole lot. I mean, you think back to the famous Jackson Hallmark don't care, in the 21 team. That was probably good enough to host a regional that year if we'd have played non-conference games. I mean, we're traveling. The travel that year was awful. I mean, it just because it was the last-minute schedule, and we're flying to Denver to get to Piscataway and playing pods. And, if you love to compete, then it really doesn't matter what the circumstances are. And certainly we do a great job with our sports science staff and our training staff and strength coach and all those things to make sure the guys' bodies are in a good position to go play. But really, at the end of the day, it just comes down to how bad do you want it? And so you can find a reason not to do it, or you can find an excuse to get it done.
That's part of the reason why I bring it up, because it's all that kind of stuff off the field that's going to lead to the toughness on the field. And you talk all the time about the toughest team's going to win. And I think you look at the last, 17 of 18 games, whatever it is, this team's had to be tough to win. I mean, they haven't been layup games. You've had to rally. You've had to walk off. You've had to overcome big innings against you. This weekend, you had to overcome. You had 2 5-0 leads. They came back, and you could have easily just said, "Oh, it's not our day." But that's my point. Is it? To me, it seems like it's translating onto the field.
It is, and again, it starts with process and being sold out and bought into the process of practice with joy and intent. I mean, our guys. We talk about that probably 3 or 4 times a week, is just, hey, this is how we need to prepare. Have that deep-rooted happiness when you show up to the field and do it with a smile on your face, but then also do it with some intensity, the focus piece of it, to go accomplish the mission. And then you get on to game day, and that allows you to play with a sense of urgency. That allows you to not get emotional about the game and how the ups and downs and the waves and, some of those things that happen in a game. And you just go pitch to pitch. And you can't do that if you're not sold out to process. I believe that wholeheartedly. So you just win or lose. I mean, you just show up with a job to do the next day. And, that's how you ultimately become consistent.
Yeah, that's part of it, because, there are times when you have a heartbreaking loss and then you can see it kind of trickle over in BP, or a guy might be going through a tough stretch and they just don't look real approachable, but I mean, I think you can point to 8 to 10 guys on this year's team that have been going through it. Jeter had a tough start. Butenbach had the tough stretch. Overbeeks was kind of fighting there for a while. But you look at them before the game, and you would never know any different. Right. They would all look like they're hitting 300-400. And like you said, it kind of goes to what we talked about last week with these guys just really enjoying being around each other. Seems like you have guys that are picking each other up as well when things aren't going right. Yeah, and it all starts with the leadership, the guys setting the tone in the clubhouse. I mean, they all pull for one another. And so you just, confidence is contagious. Body language is contagious. We talk about speaking things into existence. And, it's a tough game built for tough people. So if you mope around and you kind of just drag your blankie around and or if you pound your chest and beat your chest when things are going good and act like, you're best thing since sliced bread, I mean, that doesn't work well either. So you just try to stay grounded and, again, just trust and follow the process and understand that each day is a new opportunity. And our guys love playing and they love competing. And, they're very, very determined competitors. And so I just keep going, just keep doing it, just keep showing up, and you are what you repeatedly do, and that's how you become consistent. And that's what you did against Indiana. That's always one of the better teams in the league. I think this year, they're kind of handing a lot of their youth, and kind of growing up. And some of these guys we saw have big years last year as freshmen, and you can kind of see them slowly starting to come into their own, specifically the top half of that order. What type of challenge did you expect from Indiana? And certainly we knew we were going to get that. I think for, all of about 4 innings of this series, it was a really competitive series.
Yeah, and Coach Mercer has always done a great job. I got a lot of respect for him and, how he does things. And so they've always played tough in our ballpark. We've played some really good games in the tournament against them. We haven't been to Indiana in quite a while. I think 22 maybe was the last time we were there. Yeah. So, it was what you expect on a weekend series and conference. I mean, there's going to be moments in each game where each team can kind of decide, okay, how's this thing going to go? And that's why there's that fine line between winning and losing, is because it's usually going to come down to a handful of pitches in a game. And certainly Friday was back, and we jump out early and let them kind of creep back into it. Kind of the hidden silver lining of that was that they ended up using quite a bit of their bullpen guys that if we'd have just run out to a 10-0 lead, they probably don't use them, and then that shows up on Saturday. Now, they did get to hold their best guy till Sunday, and we saw him on Sunday, but we got their best shot on Sunday, and that's where I was really proud of our guys for not being satisfied winning the series. And, it's a tough luck day. Drew Grigo crushes a ball, with 2 strikes with the bases loaded and looked like a double off the bat, and it kind of hung up there. And, some other things that happened early in that game where you're just like, man, we just couldn't get the big hit, couldn't punch it through. Their guy comes up and gets a couple of big punch outs. But we made him throw like 85 pitches. It's the most he'd ever thrown. And we got in the bullpen early because we beat on their starter, even though we only maybe scored 3 runs. He had thrown 85 pitches and 3 and change. So, it's just a collective effort of the group. The pitching and the hitting played off of each other. The thing that's a little bit overlooked too about our offense is that the pitching staff and the starting pitching allows the offense to kind of go to work, and we're not playing from behind a whole lot when it comes to big crooked numbers. So it's a lot easier to play offense when your starting pitching is doing what they're doing. Starting to see some really good things out of the bullpen from some guys that we can really count on. And just to cap it off with a couple of really big, huge crooked numbers in the late innings on Saturday and Sunday both was, is what this team's been all about.
The Sunday game, it's hard to pick one, but maybe my favorite game of the year because of everything that happened. Cooper bumped into that start, pitching against his old team. I'm sure his emotions were running a little hot. 5 of the first 6 batters reach base.
Right.
Holds it to a 2 spot.
Right.
Gets you a quality start. And he's had a couple of first innings where he's allowed a couple solo homers in the first inning, and then after that, it's just nothing. We've talked about him a million times, but you don't win Sunday without him.
No, and again, the 2 spot there instead of a 4 spot. They were 1 single away from being a 4-0 game in the first inning, and you look up and he's gone 6 innings and given up 3. With the solo home run there at the end. But in between there was a dominant performance, and again, we don't get to go to work offensively if he's not doing what he's doing. We score, it's quick. We score, it's quick. He's 30-something pitches in the first inning. You don't necessarily think that that's going to be a 6-inning outing, but again, it was our longest start of the weekend, and it came from our Sunday starter. So Coop, real happy with how that went. Again, we don't do what we do offensively without him.
Well, certainly a large part of what you did offensively Sunday revolved around Dylan Carey. And, I think it was really cool for him to have that moment at home. I know he had a bunch of family and friends that were there. I know you have so much respect for DC. And, we've talked a lot about what it meant for us to get him back, even though maybe not was the path that he was hoping for, to see this kind of manifest. And I know he'll never admit it, but I know this doubles thing was weighing on him for a while, just talking with his family, to finally get that out of the way. But to have that moment was one of my favorite things I've gotten to experience at Hawks Field. Yeah,
it's special. And to think that, 24 years had passed, since the 2002 season, and how many good players have come and gone through the program, and Dylan just being part of his journey since he was basically 16 years old, and recruiting him out of high school, and kind of the family connection there with the Freeze family, and how he's just kind of been a Husker. His dog was named Husker, and I think he kind of let the cat out of the bag on that one when I was recruiting him. I knew he had the Husker ties and everything, but it's like his dog's name Husker. I think he's going to come to Nebraska. So he made us show his cards on that one. But, yeah, just a special young man. Played every day since he was a freshman. Played third base because a big leaguer was playing shortstop, and Bryce Matthews by his side, and he had some great mentors that way. Bryce really took him under his wing, and he's been as steady a shortstop as you could possibly ever want and need. He's really grown into a leadership role. He's just grown up considerably in his time here, and he's just a fantastic young man. How he handles his business with all class. There's not a single guy on our team that wouldn't tell you that he's not at the top of the list of best teammates they've ever had. So him to be able to do it in front of our crowd, the standing ovation that he got, just, again, the sigh of relief maybe from him that it happened with all his family there. And then to cap it off with a 4-hit day and a grand slam. And, just a great performance by him. Couldn't be happier for him, prouder for him. It's just a full circle moment, for me personally, just to be a small part of his journey and just to break the record is pretty awesome, pretty special, and I hope he just continues to make that number bigger and bigger.
The cool thing about Dylan, from my perspective, is you talk about keeping a level head and not big. If there's anybody, not to say any of our guys would, but if there's anybody on our team that has earned the right to big time anybody, it would be Dylan Carey, and he couldn't have been further from that.
Right.
I mean, he's always the first one to high five our kids and give them a ball, and whether he's a first team all conference shortstop or a guy who maybe doesn't play other than maybe the sparing at bat, you would never know the difference. I mean, on the bus ride to, I don't remember where we were, Auburn maybe, we were out of bus seats, and who's the one standing in front of the bus? It's Dylan Carey giving his seat up for a freshman. I mean, it's stuff like that some guys talk about it, but Dylan likes to be about it.
Yeah. Well, and again, he's right in the middle of the culture continuing to get better and better and better, since he's been here. And it's been a steady process there as well. And, when he got here in 23, we didn't make a regional, and then it's like, okay, here's how we're going to keep pushing this thing forward. And you look up, and the back-to-back Big Ten championships don't happen without Dylan. And again, the character, the makeup, the hard work, the work ethic, just all of it is the reason why he's successful on the field. And he's a heck of a talented baseball player on top of that.
Pretty cool to watch. Really glad we all got to experience that. Really cool moment. And just an awesome Sunday all around yesterday as the Huskers finished the sweep with Indiana. Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free, it's easy, it's the law. We'll take our first break. We got more with Coach coming up next.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. DirecTV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse, the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. This is Nebraska Baseball Radio Hour here on Sports Nightly. Ben McLaughlin joined by Nebraska head coach Will Bolt after a very successful week, another 4-0 week. Boys continue to climb in the polls, and that's been the other cool thing, Coach, is it's not just Nebraska, but to see, you know, some of these other teams that are not in the SEC get some recognition, you know, from week to week, looking at teams like Boston College had a big week, UCF doing good things down in Florida, and really growing the college baseball brand. I think, you know, we've said this pretty much every time we play, that there are good college baseball players everywhere. Yep. And guys that are throwing 95 and can hit the ball 450 feet everywhere. What's that been like to kind of see the game grow, so to speak?
Yeah, the game has changed immeasurably. Basically, I mean, the college baseball landscape in I guess you look back pre-COVID, pre-shortened draft, pre-COVID waiver, some of the things that have prolonged eligibility and made the game older, and the transfer portal and there's just, it's almost you can't recognize what it is now compared to 2019, you know, especially compared to, you know, 25 years ago. It's not even recognizable. It's just so totally different. There's the parity across the country. I mean, it's not just the midweeks, it's the weekends and non-conference where you see supposed mid-majors or, you know, lesser teams or underdogs going to Power 5 programs and winning, you know, and it just speaks to the availability of talent that is there. There's no surprises or secrets anymore about players. Like guys that may have flown under the radar at times don't anymore, and there's access to players that we've never had across the country. And there's 300 Division I baseball teams, and they all have good players, and you're seeing it with everything across the country. It's hard to win. It is as hard to win now as it ever has been, for that very reason, because you just very rarely do you run into a team that just absolutely has no shot because they just don't have enough good players. I mean, everywhere the guys are throwing like you said, low 90s, 95. Like everybody's got a Friday night starter, and you look up and go, man, they got 3 bullpen guys that anybody in the country would, you know, love to have. And so it's just it's a great for our game. You know, the college baseball is as healthy as it's ever been. Attendance, viewership, all those things is at an all-time high, and that's a big reason why. Is there's a lot of excitement with the game, and there's more talent in college baseball than there ever has been. And again, that started with the shortened draft, and there's more pitchers that are, you know, getting to college, and position players that are turning down the draft because maybe they can, you know, make more money in college and end up, you know, obviously enhancing their draft status. So it's a lot of fun. There's access to watch a lot of games that you hadn't always had too, and so it's just a dogfight every time you take the field.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I mean, even from my standpoint, right? Like yesterday, we had 4 Big Ten games on a laptop as our game was going, so paying attention with what's going on around the league. You mentioned attendance numbers are up. I mean, awesome crowds this weekend. I know obviously playing well is going to help that. But to see the support yesterday, specifically with the weather finally being nice, felt like a big-time atmosphere yesterday.
It did, and it really helped our guys just kind of stay in that fight, on Sunday. And you get the crooked numbers going and the crowd's going crazy. And it certainly helps our guys. And we feel that on the road, too, and we have big crowds. When our fans travel, even at Kansas State, by the end of that game on Tuesday, we had more fans in the stands than they did, just with a big lead in the late innings. So we're very fortunate here in Nebraska to have the fan support as we have, and top 10 in attendance nationally. We don't take that for granted, not one bit.
It's got to be cool for guys like Grigo and Jeter, who've heard about it and maybe been in the stands for some of those games. But now, this is what they've been waiting for their whole lives, to be out there in right field to see all the red in the stands. Yeah,
it's a dream come true for a lot of these guys to be able to put on the Husker uniform and perform in front of the fans and, play in such a great atmosphere.
Speaking of Grigo, got to bring him up. I remember we talked about him pregame. We're like, I just don't think it's long before we're going to have to put his name down the lineup card. And you tell us all the time that sometimes the lineup cards just write themselves. Mm-hmm. Gamer. Moments never too big for him. He's very in his own process, it seems like, especially in the box. He's made some great catches in right field. You kind of needed some stability in the corner outfield spots, and he's like, yeah, happy to do it. And that's not a position that he's played a whole ton.
Yeah, he's been consistent, and I've really seen his mindset continue to grow, and where he just really feels confident. He has a foundation of hard work, and that's really where it starts. He spends as much time in the cages as anybody, just perfecting his craft and working hard at it, and not taking success for granted, not assuming it's just going to continue to happen. So he's able to go into the game, feeling very, very confident because he knows he's put the work in. And again, just a guy that I think back to, we talked about Dylan at length, but I remember having a very similar conversation with Dylan before he came to Nebraska. He said, Coach, I can play anywhere on the field that you feel like you need me. I want to make an impact right away. And that was the conversation with Drew, too. It was, hey, Coach, I know I'm an infielder, but if you need me to play outfield because I need to help the team and I want to make an impact, and that's the difference, right? Like not just being at a place and that being kind of your ultimate goal and dream is just like, hey, I want to be at Nebraska or name whatever school that is. It's like truly getting there and making an impact, and it takes a certain special mindset to do that as a freshman, especially today's day and age. 22 and a half is about the average age for lineups. And it's been cool to watch his growth. He's been very, very consistent and steady for us and done a nice job.
I want to talk about his approach at the plate because that's another – it seems like he's really advanced in that area. I can't tell you how many line drives to right field he's hit. We've seen him just – he leads the nation and smoke balls to center field that haven't gone out. We've seen the pull side power, but I think above all that, his ability to hit with two strikes. There's a lot going on there. Walk through us like his mentality at the plate and how he's able to do so many different things.
Yeah, and the reason that he was able to be a consistent hitter in high school is that he could use the whole field, and he wasn't just a pull monster where every swing he's just looking to leave the yard to the pull side. He's got an advanced approach at the plate, which means he can hit the fastball the other way, and it gives him time to see the breaking stuff and the changeup. He's very, very good against the left-handed changeup. Just his ability to see the ball and trust the trust is the key word because he knows he's put the work in, and he's got an advanced approach that he can really use in any situation. He's driven in runs. The two-strike hitting is there because he can use the other side of the field. All those things go hand in hand with just the ability to, not be just pull happy.
It's been really cool to see kind of him come into his own. It's also been really cool to see the resurgence of Rhett Stokes. Almost of 2 years ago. He's had, I think, secretly one of the more cool stories as a Husker the last few years. Came back, probably knew that, unless something happened, he wasn't going to be an everyday starter. And, it's just like it was 2 years ago. He looked down at the box score and another 3-hit day from Stokes, and the extra base hits are back. We saw the homer a couple of weeks ago. We know the defense is going to be there. It has to be pretty cool to watch.
It is, and shout out Red Stokes. It's his birthday today. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, absolutely. 23 years young.
A few of those Jordan years going
today.
Down.
Yeah, it's Jordan years. So, he's been another coach basically on the field. He's always kind of been that way, just his knowledge of the game, but just coming back for his 5th year and talking through some of those things with him about being a grad assistant next year, if maybe kind of choosing that route for a profession is going into coaching, and it's been cool. And this happens at times where guys kind of just let go of expectations of themselves and just say, hey, whatever I can do to help, and I'm here. I'm a role player. Whatever you need me to do, I'm going to fulfill that role. And I mean. The defense he's played at shortstop when Dylan was out, at third base, he turns his double play as quickly as anybody I've ever had. He just works at it every day. And the bat, you don't hit 360 in college baseball by accident. Like, you have to have the physical abilities to do that. I've really been proud of him. He's done some things mechanically, but he's also kind of just refined his approach this year. Kind of getting back to maybe where he was when he first cracked the lineup as a junior in 2024, where it's just kind of line drives through the middle, ground balls through the middle, just enough in the gaps to get some doubles. And he's been awesome. I mean, it's been really cool to see him and just fill in wherever we need him. And his expectations, he just wants to help the team win. And so he swung the bat really well. A couple of huge hits yesterday. I mean, the two out hit early in that game kind of just gave us some life, and then the 2-strike double to drive in a run, and then to cap it off with a double late in the game. I think the thing I'm most happy about is the walk to strikeout for him. It's over 1-1. It's walk, hit by pitch, and strikeout, I think, is over 1-1 now. Strikeouts are down. He's moving the baseball, laying down bunts. Just a real winning player. And just a true team guy.
You throw Grigo, Beek, Stokes. I mean, we said it probably 15 times on the broadcast that we have to be so frustrating to pitch against, because you might handle Carey in a day. You might handle Sandy in a day. You might be able to get Moyer off a bag to lead off an inning, which I think we're having Jared Meister pull the data on how many times he's gotten on base and scored a run to start an inning. But you might be able to work through some of that, but then you got to deal with the bottom half. And those guys have set the table for this offense more times than I can count this year.
Yeah, and Beek and Stokes yesterday were a prime example of that. And again, it's not lost on me or any of our staff that we have 2 5th-year seniors that were hitting in the 8 and 9 hole yesterday. And that's what I told Coach Mercer after the game. Like, he's running a bunch of young guys out there, and certainly we've got our own young guys that have performed well, but it's a luxury to have those guys at the bottom half of the order. And Beek, it's good to see him have some success yesterday. He's been on the barrel. Like I said, Stokes, setting up the line. That's the only way you have a chance to score in every inning, is just you have to be deep in your lineup. That's the only way you have the 2-out magic that we have, because there's nowhere for the pitcher to go. Excuse me. And then just continuing to do that every single day. Take some leadership with the group to just go out there and just say, you know what, we're just going to keep coming at you.
And it makes it competitive in batting practice too, where guys want a spot. You're not just going to be given a spot because someone's struggling. You got to go take it from somebody. I mean, keep in mind, Jeski's been out with the injury, and Mike and Miller missed a whole bunch of time. Like, you've had guys that you've had to thrust in there, and nice to see Jeski come in. I would have lost a lot of money that he was taking the first pitch yesterday.
I know.
I kind of thought he was just, I told him that after the game. I was like, I kind of thought no matter where that pitch was, he'd be swinging at it. But he ends up smoking a ball 110 off the bat. I mean, it's got to be pretty cool to watch this offense happen.
Yeah, and I was proud of him for just that. He got to a 3-0 count, and then so he was had a mature plan right there, and got his pitch 3-1 and didn't miss it. But he's getting close, and hopefully he'll be available tomorrow. We'll kind of see how that goes. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that are really kind of frothing at the mouth to get out there in the lineup and help. And again, we're going to need all of them. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of good, talented lefties out there, and that we have to face. And there's some, at bats to be had when we face, a tough righty with a real good slider. That we've got some left-handed bats that I still think can make an impact that maybe haven't, done much in the last few weeks, but we feel like that they're still more than capable of helping. So, again, it's the internal competition's good on the team, particularly when you have a bunch of guys that are actually pulling for each other as well.
No question. Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. We're back with more with Coach after this.
Every machine has a story. Early mornings, long harvests, years of hard work. When the time comes to sell, AuctionTime.com helps make sure the world sees that equipment. Whether you're selling one piece of equipment or planning a retirement auction, start by knowing what it's worth. At Auction Time, we'll help you start with a free equipment valuation and plan the best way to sell. Call 402-458-4570. That's 402-458-4570. AuctionTime.com. Local expertise, worldwide buyers.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. Find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Toyota. Receive 0% APR for 72 months on the 2025 Toyota Tundra Platinum 4-Wheel Drive Crew Cab. Visit us in-store or online at woodhousetoyota.com today. Woodhouse Toyota. Let's go places. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra, $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number GT250090. Offer expires March 31st, 2026. See dealer for details.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for the next vehicle with a home team at Woodhouse, the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. One more segment with Coach Bolt. We'll talk to Carson Yassa here in our final segment of the show, but one left with the coach. Big one this week. Starts tomorrow with Creighton. I know you don't want to put too much into it, but fans get really into it. Broadcasters get really into it. Creighton's playing a lot better right now, and I know they're trying to get their new identity going with Coach Kingston, and they've brought in a lot of talent this year.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, another opportunity for us to go play well new week, turn the page from last week, and set the tone for this one. Right down the road and playing at Charles Schwab Field against a really good Creighton team that's well coached and is going to be ready to play. So for us, it's just go compete, go play together, and get a chance to get a road RPI game, and just like I said, start the week off on the right foot.
We've talked a little bit about dealing with some injuries. You're starting to get some guys back. It's nice to see Mike can get some swings, and he's every time he hits the ball, he's having to test that groin out. Right. Like, and obviously, great seeing Jeske back. Any health concerns right now for the team now that we're in the thick of it? Yeah, you saw Devin Nunez get in there. I think he pinch ran a couple of times. He's got a broken hamate bone, which is in his hand, and he'll have to have surgery. Unfortunately, on that hamate bone, and Jet Buck had that at the end of the fall. It's going to keep him out for quite some time, 4 to 6 weeks at the very minimum, and then kind of just working his way back. It is his right hand, so it's his throwing hand as well. So a little bit, some things that go into that. So, we're thinking about Dev. It's a tough time for him. He's a competitor. He wants to be in there and help the team, and so we'll be without him for quite some time, and it's, unfortunate, but we'll have some other guys, ready to step up. Seems like we're seeing a lot more of that, the hamate bone injuries. I think even our guys, we've had maybe 3 or 4 of them in the last 2 years, and before that, I don't really remember. Is there studies going into how this keeps happening? I just think it's a wear and tear thing. I think it's just maybe there's a bit of the compression between the knob of the bat and the hand. It's really where it's located. It's just kind of where that pressure is from the knob of the bat, and it's just a usage thing. And I don't know. I mean, it just seems maybe some guys are more susceptible than others to it. I don't know if there's a pattern or a reason why. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Jet had it, and then Josh Caron the year before that. So some good players, have gone through it, and so again, hopefully that recovery is speedy, and I know it's going to be tough for Dev to not be in there with his guys. Yeah, she's got a pretty gnarly scar on the hand. I didn't realize it was that intense, but he seems to be doing great, and he's kind of another one that's, again, frustrating. You might look down, he's 0 for 6 with maybe 4 strikeouts, and then all of a sudden he rips a gap and homers, and it's just like, man, the thing that impresses me about Jet is his in-game adjustments. I think there was a game earlier this year, might have been in Arizona, where he had, I think, 3 or 4 strikeouts to start and finished 2 for 5 with 2 singles. So it seems like he's very mature in being able to figure things out as the game goes. Yeah, another fifth-year guy. He's had a lot of college at-bats. He's been great. I mean, he's been tremendous for us. And, again, that's where that slug that he can provide really comes into play, because, we get – Dylan gets caught stealing there, and then all of a sudden, innings got a chance to be over, but one swing of the bat, and you've got a run on the board, and drove in another run late in the game, and very versatile athlete. Welcome to left field. Yeah, played left field, and just can kind of play anywhere on the field that we need him, and so he's been a huge addition, not only with the bat and glove, but just his presence in the clubhouse too, and the type of kid he is, and just what he's brought to our team has been pretty cool. Something we didn't talk about off Cooper, something you're able to do, obviously, with the crooked numbers, save some of your bullpen for the week. I know you're playing 4 or 5 games a week. You're starting to wonder workloads on guys, how often you're putting guys in, how often you're getting guys up to throw, even if they don't come into the game. You have to feel pretty good about kind of a week fresh reset. Yeah, I mean, again, that you're exactly right. Just the ability to put up the crooked number allows you to make some maybe different decisions, and that is not lost on our guys. I mean, we have talked about that at length with this group of position players, of like how we win series, how we sweep series, how we set ourselves up for midweek games. Is just do not take for granted your at bat. Each pitch is important. Even if we're down in a game, let's beat on the pitch count to try to make them make moves. Let's get back in the game, even if we don't win it. We can set ourselves up for success the next day, and so those are all things that, again, you have to be connected as a team to really feed off each other that way. And again, our guys have done a nice job of that. We just got to keep it going. Coach, appreciate you coming in. We're going to talk to the 6'7" righty to finish it up. Appreciate you coming in. We'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Ben.
That's it with Coach Bolt. We'll take a break. We got Carson Yassa joined us after the game yesterday, so we'll replay that conversation for you and wrap up the Nebraska Baseball Radio Hour. That's coming up next.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
Welcome back to the Nebraska Baseball Radio Hour. Final segment here before we hand it off and wrap up the show here for the evening. Time now for a Nebraska Lottery baseball trivia question. It's the Caddyshack second chance promotion from the Nebraska Lottery. Enter non-winning Caddyshack scratch tickets by April 22nd for a chance to win 2 VIP Nebraska golf passports and more. Caddyshack, top price odds, 1 in 116,000. Tonight's question is, yesterday, Dylan Carey had his 57th career double at Nebraska, passing his head coach, Will Bolt, who had 56 career doubles, the most doubles in program history. Our question, name 2 of the other 3 Huskers in the top 5 career doubles list. 2 of the other 3 Huskers in the top 5 career doubles list. Be the first person to text that correct answer to 402-413-2400. We'll receive $100 in Nebraska Lottery scratch tickets. Again, that number, 402-413-2400. Be the first one to identify that answer, and you'll be hooked up from our friends at the Nebraska Lottery. Well, coming up now on the show is, following the game yesterday, we had a chance to chat with Nebraska starting pitcher Carson Yassa. Earned himself a victory on Saturday with Nebraska's win over Indiana. So we're going to let you listen back to that conversation right now.
Nick Hanley, Huskers Radio Network, talking to Saturday starter Carson Yassa. And Carson, taking a look at a weekend where you guys sweep Indiana, but also want to go back to the Saturday for you and just, you know, what you're developing into right now. I know there's a lot of expectations going into this season, but just where you are at this point of the season as more of a complete pitcher, where have you seen the biggest growth for you individually just at this point?
I'd say it's 100% a confidence thing and just believing that I can do it and seeing myself go out and do it over and over again. So being able to do that and have my confidence is really the only key to just trying to get better every week. And I know the small adjustments need to make outing to outing.
Go back to last week, really the first time in a Big Ten Conference Series. You guys fall, a tough one against Michigan that Friday night, and Ty and the staff were good in just a defensive battle, but they needed you to show up that Saturday to equalize the series. Your mentality going into that game to try to even things up, what was going on there?
I mean, I felt that way kind of going into Auburn. My start against Auburn, felt like I really needed to get a win, and I knew I was better than those guys, and I knew our defense is great, and I knew our offense was going to bounce back. So having the freedom and the ability to just throw the ball over the zone and let my defense work is the biggest thing there.
We're seeing some weekends it's the slider where you'll dominate with. We'll see the cutter, and then, oh, yeah, there's that high nines fastball sitting there in the back pocket. I know it's all about the scouting report and what you're seeing, but you know, is there any pitch that you feel like you can't maybe overpower with?
No. I mean, I'm really confident and really comfortable with all my pitches. I think they're all good. So I mean, they're all good in the zone. So just attacking that with confidence, and if they hit it, they hit it. It's a hard game. So just pitching with freedom and attacking the zone.
Let's talk about this team right now. I mean, you guys are rolling. You're undefeated at home. You're in a great position in the Big Ten, but I know there's still a little bit more than half the season left to go. But just how fun is this right now?
It's a ton of fun. I mean, this team never feels like we're going to lose a game. I mean, we're in the dugout, and all the belief is on us the whole game, from the very first pitch till the very last pitch. I mean, these guys are locked in. Everybody in the dugout's locked in. All the guys in the field. So it's really fun to just compete together as one unit and kind of have one heartbeat. So, I mean, we like each other a lot, so it's a lot of fun with these guys.
I want to ask you about your Cape Cod experience, too, because we know the high profile of that. A lot of pressure every night, scouts all over the place. You're playing the best in the summer. But for you, what has that done for just your game, both mentally and physically?
I'd say it's mostly mental out there, because you don't see everybody in the big names of uniforms that they usually wear at their school. It's just going and playing summer ball. So it really simplified the way I look at baseball, and just realize everybody's up there trying to get a hit, and every pitcher's up there just trying to get guys out. So really just simplifying the game out there and getting elite talent out was huge for my confidence. So I love going out there.
Lastly, this is probably the thing that I know I want to know more than anything. Is there any point that either Rob Childress or Will Bolt will actually call you Carson Yasa and not Jasa?
Yeah, it really just depends on the mood and how the game's going. I get all forms of my last name and name. If I throw a good pitch in the bullpen, it's a great job, Carson, from Coach Childress. So he means doing something good if I get the first name. If it's Jaza, I probably did something wrong. But I mean, I love it. I have no problem with it. It's just a lot of fun.
That relationship with Rob seems to be pretty strong too.
Yeah, Coach Childress is the man. I mean, I have a lot of belief in him and what he's done in his resume coaching. And he's a great human, and he's trying to make more great humans in the staff. So I look up to him a lot.
That is Nebraska starting pitcher Carson Yasa with Nick Hanley following the game yesterday. Really nice to see Carson kind of come into his own as a starter and really hold down that Saturday spot for the Huskers in that pitching rotation. And Carson will get after it again against Penn State here at home at Hawks Field. But the big one tomorrow night as Nebraska heads up I-80 to take on in-state rival Creighton. It's going to be another very windy day for baseball. Wind out of the north is the forecast tomorrow with the Creighton Blue Jays, who took 2 out of 3 from Sacramento State here this last weekend. And the Huskers will try to continue their hot winning ways, winners of 17 of their last 18 games and up to 19th in the polls in college baseball here today. That'll wrap it up for the Nebraska Baseball Radio Hour. Our thanks to Will Bolt for spending some time with us. Obviously, nice to get Coach's thoughts after a 4-0 week. Nebraska continuing to play good baseball, and hopefully that's the same here this weekend. And big thanks to Carson Yasa for spending a few minutes with us following the game yesterday. Thanks to Nick for handling that as well. That'll wrap it up for the Nebraska Baseball Radio Hour. Huskers and Blue Jays tomorrow night. We are on the air at 5:30 here on the Huskers Radio Network. Thanks to Josh Ilkman for producing. We'll talk to you tomorrow from Charles Schwab Field in Omaha.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is kicking off Declaration of Deals. Receive 0% APR for 60 months on all 2026 Ram 1500 Bighorns when financed through Stellantis. Or for returning leasees, lease a 2026 Jeep Compass for $199 a month with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $299 doc fee due at signing. Lease for 27 months, 5,000 miles per year with $1,999 down. Stock number BC 260058 expires March 31st, 2026. See dealer for details.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on